Hello there, Kherny here, and as you can see you're looking at a Crusader Kings 2 game. The Charlemagne expansion's just been released and I'm going to play a playthrough on it in Iron Man mode. For those of you who don't know, Iron Man means you can't save freely, so you can't cheat and reload. Now I don't know how long the game will last, I've never tried Iron Man before. Might be an hour, might be 5 hours, who knows. Now the Charlemagne expansion has expanded upon the timeline that was available in the game. Prior to the Charlemagne you could start in the Viking Age 867 and work your way through to the late Middle Ages. Now they've added another 100 years with Charlemagne, the early Middle Ages, and quite a lot of changes have taken place as well, and I'm not familiar with them, so we'll find out together as we go along. So let's pick the early Middle Ages. Now I'm going to be doing a custom game start rather than one of the suggested ones. That'll enable me to pick my starting land. Now you can start anywhere you like. I'll try and explain as I go along for those of you who've never played it before and maybe seen it for the first time. Now I think I will start in Ireland, as that's where we're from originally. Now that's about as close as I can get there. Now I've tried a few starts with Thomond, but even the names have changed in the Charlemagne expansion. Right, excellent. Okay, we'll start in Breffni. Right, the Urbrand, that's your dynasty up there. That's the coat of arms for the land that you're currently a ruler of. So let's select him. We'll choose Iron Man enabled down there. As you can see, you can't manually save the game. You only get you'll only get Steam achievements in this mode. So hopefully we'll get some. Let's start. Right, here we go. Map's changed. We can only see, our visibility is limited to this area here around our home county. Now I'll give a little bit of an explanation just what's going on. In the bottom right you've got your map, usual sort of thing, you can click where you like. You could quite happily play without using much of the features down here, but it does enhance it. For example, you can do various kinds of filters to show different settings, cultures, economy, you know, that sort of thing. So it depends on what you prefer. There's also a few options down here that can come in handy later that I'll explain as we go along with the playthrough. In the top right is a little menu there showing you the current state of your realm. You can see there that that first one is wealth. It will show you what your monthly balance is, incoming, and also what your current wealth is. There's your prestige, that's a measure of your success, and you can use that for special actions, and I think in Charlemagne it's actually used as a form of currency to build certain buildings, but we'll find that out. Piety is the next one along. That's the same sort of thing as prestige, but more for religion. You can spend that to get actions through the church or through negotiating with the Pope. Depending on how high your piety is, depends on whether you'll be able to afford the cost of what you're trying to do. Now, demesne size, that's quite important, that one. Basically what that is it's probably not pronounced demesne, but we'll go with that. Domain, I should say. Domain size. Now, at the moment, you can see it says 1 of 6. Now, with my current ratings on my character, which we'll look at in a moment, it enables me, along with my rank, to have a total of 6 potential holdings. Now, at the moment, I've got 1. we'll have a quick look at the screen on the left. That picture up there brings this open. Now you can see here where the titles are. Chieftain of Brefne. Now I've got 1 title. I can have a potential of 6. You can go over this, but there are penalties to taxes and unrest with your vassals and followers, things like that. But there's new ways in Charlemagne again of getting around that, but we'll find that out as we go along. Of course, if you increase in rank, at the moment I'm just a chief of a tribal village. If you increase in rank and maybe become a count, duke, depending on your government type, then your demesne can increase or get smaller. So make sure you have good children who've got good stats. What we got next? Realm size. This is the total number of, well, you can see there, total number of holdings that I currently own. And there's my score. Now this is at the end of the game when it ends, however that ends, whether that's through having no children to succeed you or by being defeated in however you fail. That's your end score that will be compared against all the other cultures in the world, and you can have sort of like a relative standing, so it's just something to aim for. You've got notification windows here. High priority messages will appear in this one, and low priority ones appear here. It's a good way when times before going forwards you can just keep an eye on what's happening in your lands and around your lands. Now down here is a little pop out. It shows your current domain, gives you a little bit of a little blurb on what you're making, what the cost is, etc. And it'll also, if you find any characters of note that you want to keep an eye on, that you might forget about later, you can star them and they'll be kept on this screen. For example, this character here, if we go to my screen, there's my heir, my son. Now, if we mark or unmark him as a character of special interest, and go back over here, he's right there, which is a lot easier to find him when there's hundreds and hundreds of characters around. So we'll untick that for the moment, as we know how to get to him. Now, that's the notifications and the maps. Now, top of the centre of the screen, if you're used to a lot of strategy type games, these are like the events this turn or ongoing events that need to be dealt with. They'll pop up here and they'll stay there until you deal with them or disable them, which you can do by right clicking. Now for me right now, the situation is my ruler's unmarried and I should get him married. I have an unmarried heir, so we'll obviously have to sort that out to make sure we have some children to continue the line. And I've got to pick an ambition. That's like a goal. They can be short term or long term. Now, next we've got the main, probably the things you'll use the most up here. A set of shortcuts. Now the first one takes you to your current council in your realm with the list of characters, how well they like or dislike you. Green's obviously good, red's obviously not. An appoint button that allows you to change, you can pick new if you're not happy with them for whatever reason. You can change that setting, although there will be consequences, as with most actions in this game. This little button here will stop them from leading your armies, because when you create armies they'll assign leaders to them. You can simply tick these, for example, Spy Master, my court chaplain. I don't want them leading my army unless they're particularly amazing. I'll take my Chancellor off, I've got better things for him to do. And my Steward, he'll be making me some money. Now, my Marshal, my military guy, I don't mind him leading my armies. That's what if he's doing nothing else, that's what I have no problem with that. Now, the little symbols here are what they specialise in. A Steward, his main stat's going to be State Stewardship. Spy Master will be Intrigue. Court Chaplain will be Learning. So when you're looking for a character to replace them possibly, for example the Chancellor there, State Diplomacy, we can filter by diplomacy. There's the current character at the top, we can ask him to resign, and these are possible replacements in our realm. Not a lot of choice at this moment, but we don't want to change him anyway. And here is the effective skill in that particular area. So for example, our marshal's got a 40 skill of 14 martial skill. Now it can go into the 20s, so, and you know, into the low 7, 8, 6, but you want to keep it as high as possible for each one of these. You know, you might find characters as the game goes on, the higher they are, the more effective they are at their role. Now, next screen along is the laws for the realm. Now this can change depending on the size of your realm. At the moment, we only have one little realm there, Breffni. There's a little symbol, coat of arms. Now, there's me. There's my heir. Pretenders to the throne. You can click on, have a look at those. Now, our laws. This is quite important. Your succession laws. At the moment, it's elective gavelkind. These can change, and there can be quite a lot of options here, but you'll have to decide on how you want to do it. I mean, it's to do with if I die for whatever reason, then these laws come into effect in how my titles are dispersed among my relatives or my heirs. Now, you can have like ones where it'll only go to the male or the female. We haven't got any of those laws at the moment. You can have laws where it'll go to the oldest child, the oldest relative, an elected heir. There's many options there. Best way is to read them as you get them, because it depends on where you are in the timeline as well in the game. Now we're very early in the game there with elective gavelkind, so let's have a little look at that. I've not had that one before. So the titles of the ruler are divided among his children and the primary heir, who is elected from among the members of the ruling dynasty. The law defaults to primogeniture. You get no prestige penalty for having unlanded sons, and can have a 30% larger domain. Destruction of titles under any form of gavelkind succession is not allowed. On succession in kingdoms and empires, new kingdoms might be created for younger sons if possible. Junior heirs always get the choice to declare independence without a war. Right. Now ideally we want to give all our titles, when I die, to one child, because basically you will be playing that child, so you don't want to give away half the kingdom when you die. So we'll have to think about that. Now let's have a look down here. Now currently we've only got the one realm, and these are the laws that we have for that realm. Now as you can see, there's 2 for the church, 2 for the city, 2 for the feudal followers, and then there's an overall law setting. Now basically you have taxation and a military setting. You can raise one of these settings, unless it's changed in Charlemagne, which I don't think it has, per lifetime of your ruler. So for this ruler I could change one of these settings by 1 rank, and that'll be it for him. He can't make any more changes until his successor arrives, in which case he can then change it again. Now these weren't initially locked before, but with Charlemagne they've now been tied into the technology that you've got, so that's something else to bear in mind. For example, we could rise the tribal organisation from minimal to low. Let's have a look. Minimal would... Wow, with low organisation we have barely any control over our vassals. That's basically the situation right now. Now they quite like that. 5+5 opinion with our vassals. Now if we could raise that to low tribal organisation, we'll gain more power. They'll like that less, and it would allow us to revoke titles from our vassals. Something to think about. Now our feudal levies are your military vassals. The city ones are your sort of money makers primarily, and the church followers are the religious leaders who, if they like you better than the Pope, will provide you with part of their retinues, part of their troops, or if they don't, they won't. And again, with the taxation, if they like you better than the Pope, you'll get the taxes that they raise, or if not, it'll go to Rome. Now, at the moment, we've got for our feudal levies, our lords and ladies who are military minded, we've got it on normal. Now that gives us a -20 penalty to the levy that can be raised there. Right, okay. Money wise, they're exempt from tax. Ooh, that'll have to change later. You can see there'll be a 10% change if I put that to small, 20% to large, if I put it to large. But of course you get a hit in reputation with you get a hit in how much they like you there. -10, -20. Alright, we'll leave that as it is for now. Potentially I'll be looking to change the tribal organisation so we'll have a bit more control over our empire, as small as it is. Now here's a technology tree. Now a lot of the laws will be tied into this. Now over time it just increases gradually. You've got military, economy and culture. As it increases, you'll basically see the amount that it currently is, the 0 underneath, and then the amount that it's increasing by in these top areas here. Then if you come down to here, you can see, for example, in the military tree, light infantry, heavy infantry, cavalry, etc. Light infantry, this would be the upgrade button there. It's currently halfway towards the first rank. Now if we do get the first rank, they're the benefits that it will give to us. To get that right now, we'd have to spend 56.382 technology points. Now we have none at the moment, and it's not showing our growth rate as we've got the game paused. But that's basically how it works. You let the points build up and accrue. You can speed this up through buildings and other means, and then you decide what you want to increase, and when you get far enough you can speed it up and buy it outright. Now an important screen here, the fourth one along, your military. Retinues we won't worry about for the moment. They're like private military, your professional military army. Now levies are from your domain. Now any holdings that you personally hold have a set of troops attached to them that you can call upon to aid you in wars or struggles with other rulers. Now as it stands at the moment, without jumping ahead of ourselves, we have one holding, as we know from looking at the top right. Our domain size is 1 of 6. We have one holding. Now if we look at ourselves there, we can see that holding is the county capital of our realm. We could potentially have more holdings down here. At the moment there is a bishopric, which is a church holding in our realm. And then there's an empty holding there as well. Now tribes, this is a new thing in Charlemagne, can't build new holdings, so we'll leave that for the moment. But we do have, this will be our vassal here. He'll be under us, and that'll be a priest vassal. But we'll come back to that. Now, as I was saying, this is militarily, this is our single holding. Now if you look at it, you can see there we've got a garrison of 190 troops which will defend our holding. You don't have access to them, that's just the a number used to defend them. And this is the important one, this is our levy from our holding. We have 276 troops available to us. Now, as it's the capital county, we get plus 50%, and you can see our martial skills reducing it a little bit. Another important reason to have stats. Now, if we go back to the military tab, that ties in. From our domain, we have 276. We've raised 0. We have unraised 276 of a total of 276, because you can take casualties, so it's a quick way of seeing what you've got available. Now the benefit of troops from our own holdings are that you don't have to worry about keeping your vassals and followers happy when you ask them to raise their troops on your behalf. defensively, if you have someone attacking you, they're quite happy to give you their troops, and they won't kick up a fuss, and you won't lose any reputation. If you go on an offensive war, you'd have a limited amount of time before they'll start complaining, saying they're not happy with what's going on, and the reputation between you and them will slowly decrease. So that won't happen with troops from your own holdings. Now at the moment we haven't got any vassals troops. Now down here you can see that vassal I told you about, the bishopric, Bishop Lazaran of Kherny. Now these are the troops. This red bar here is showing us, if it was green it would be good, red is bad. So basically, because he prefers, well, he doesn't like us enough to give us enough of his troops. Now he could give us, if you hover over that bar, he's given us none at the moment. Now he could, his own personal levy is 205 troops. Now the fact that he likes the Pope more than us means we don't get access to them, so that's something we could maybe do something about by increasing our his opinion of me. Now that's something to come back to, but there's potentially 205 troops there we could call upon. These buttons will be greyed out, we can't call upon them at the moment because we don't have access to them. Now this is where they would appear if they were available, in the from vassals line there, but they're not. Now the bottom line is for hired troops. Now this tab here, you can see you have vassals, mercenaries and holy orders. Vassals are all of our vassals that are underneath us. We only have the one, as there's only a bishopric in our county. Now mercenaries, they're available all the time, and there's all kinds here, all kinds. There's pure ship-based mercenary units. There's mercenary units of all kinds there. You can also get one usually for the land that you're in, so there should be an Irish band in here, and it should be cheap for us to get as they're local. Now the Irish band, there we go. Now how this works is, that's the leader of the Irish band. It would cost us 190 gold. We've currently got 40, and bear in mind we're taking in 0.17 a month, so there's no chance we could afford that. It takes us a long time, and the ongoing monthly cost once you've raised them would be 7 gold a month. Again, that's way out of our league at the moment. Now what would you get for that? We'd get 800 infantry, 200 heavy infantry, some light cavalry, 700 archers, for a total of 1900 troops. And being Irish and being in Ireland, they would be the cheapest troops for us. So if you're in England, it would probably be the Saxon band, I think it is. There, now they're quite near to us. Again, that's probably our second option there. If we could afford more than one, we'd take both of those. As you can see, they could be quite a game changer without having that amount of troops. Now the third tab along here is for any holy orders are available. Now we don't have any knowledge of any at the moment, so that tab's empty. The difference with the holy order compared to mercenaries is they'll fight religiously. They're quite happy to fight against non-Catholic cultures. Say if there was a crusade or something like that, they won't fight in personal wars. Now the third tab along is for our fleet levies. Now you don't actually have ship versus ship combat in this game, but they're mainly used just as transport. So, and I think that's historically correct as well. I've looked at that, and apparently in this sort of time, you know, it's quite a rare event. They were mainly used to transport troops around. So now we're not a sea-based land there, so we haven't actually got a fleet, which is interesting. Okay, let's go back to the fourth tab along, military, fleet levies. So we don't have any available to us in our domain. Of course, if we take over any other provinces, that's a different matter. And of course, there's always mercenary units, purely ship-based, that you could hire as well. But we won't be doing that anytime soon. Now, the next tab along is the intrigue tab. There's a lot of things that can go on here. This will show you threats to your kingdom, any prisoners that you currently have, known plots. Interesting little button there to bear in mind, auto stop plots, which is useful the majority of times. There are some times where you won't want to stop a plot. For example, a relative's trying to kill someone that you don't like. If you have that ticked, you'll send them a message saying, look, pack it in. And more than likely they're going to agree because you're going to be their lord. Now, on here you can choose plots that you want to carry out. A lot of some interesting stuff there. We won't go into that yet. And then there's some further options that you can choose here, but again we won't go into these for the moment. Now the next tab along, factions. There are no factions currently in our realm, which is probably a good thing from what I've seen so far in the games I've played. There's no other groups of people trying to achieve their own aims or goals, trying to change things. Now, and the last tab is a religious tab. Now this is to do with the Pope and the Catholic Church. Now this is our only bishop at the moment. What matters to us is, there's the Pope, there's what he thinks of us on a rating of 0 to 100 and minus 100. So he fairly likes us. Diligent versus slothful, so we got some personal differences between us, but overall we're both zealous, and my state diplomacy rating is helping us out there as well, so he don't mind us. Now the problem is my bishop likes him more than me. You can tell that because there's the tab for the opinion of the Pope, and there's the tab for the opinion of his liege, me. Now he likes him 55, and there's the reasons why, and he likes me 20, and there's the reasons why. Now we're quite different there, as you can see. I'm slothful and craven, which is giving me some minuses, and my personal diplomacy with him isn't very good, so he could probably do with a bribe or something like that to keep him happy. Now this that's something else we'll leave for the moment. That's to do with the Catholic Church and becoming a bishop in the Catholic Church. Now there is a little button up here that you can miss, the College of Cardinals. This shows you which bishops are making up the College of Cardinals. From one of these, the Pope is chosen. Now, there's the current College of Cardinals, there's the Pope, there's the current Preferatus, who's expected to succeed him. Now, down here, there's my bishop. Now, all the bishops that are available in the game, when a gap opens up, one's chosen to fill that spot. Now, the likelihood of that happening, we can try and influence, because we'd like our guy, well, possibly not, but potentially to become one of the cardinals, and then maybe become the Pope, which would be helpful for us. Now, we can try and influence that happening by giving money to his campaign fund, but we won't be doing that at the moment. But that's just to let you know how it works. You'll see the who's potentially in line to become a cardinal here, and what their current score is, and you'll be trying to beat that score basically, and you can throw money at it or try and change the situation so he's liked more, but that's a different method. Now that's basically all the tabs there. Let's have a look at what's going on right now. You can see the state of Ireland. These are the borders around the individual provinces. Now they're all individual by the looks of it. Now that one there is a 2-province realm. Let's see who that is. Chief Niall of Eogan. And he doesn't like me so much. You can tell that. There's the reputation point. He's getting on a bit though by the looks of it. It's 51. Things might change with his heir. His heir doesn't mind me currently. Now, as I said earlier, these are the outstanding things to deal with at the moment with the realm. We need to pick an ambition. We need to find a wife for our son, our heir, and we also need to get married ourselves. So let's have a look at our character. It's an easy way to start. If you're not sure what to do, keep an eye up here and you'll see events occurring. Now first things first, easy one to do is pick an ambition. It's sort of like a goal that you're trying to achieve. Now, you do that by coming. You can either click the screen there, click that tab, it'll open up for us, brings up the screen. Now, over here is where you choose an ambition. If we click that, a line opens up, and let's have a look at them. We can try to become the King of Ireland. Now, if you complete these goals, you'll get various types of rewards. Now, we want to pick a achievable goal at the moment, because once you've achieved your ambition, then you can pick another one. Now, right now, I don't think we're going to try and become the King of Ireland. While that's definitely something on the horizon, right now, that's not something we want to try and do. We want to do something to get a short-term goal and reward. Let's have a look. Improve diplomacy. Now, this will, if we put that as our ambition, basically situations will arise where we try to increase our diplomacy rating. Because right now, if you remember, these symbols represent the different things there. Where's our diplomacy one? There we are, state diplomacy. Right, at the moment it's 3. Not very good at all. So we could put that as an ambition to increase that to 8. Now, it does take time, so we're not going to do that. If it was nearer to 8, I'd consider that. Now, we could try and improve our learning. It's currently at 4. Again, that's a bit far away from 8 for us to do at the moment. If there was nothing else, I might consider it. Now, getting married, that's definitely a ambition we can fulfill, and it also fulfills one of the events we need to do, and that's where we are married. So that's definitely something we're going to probably choose. We can choose to become exalted among men. Now, that's definitely something we won't mind, but we're not going to do that yet. Become a paragon of virtue. Again, we won't do that yet. We can try to amass wealth. Now, at the state of the realm at the moment, we're not going to try and do that. We've got to try and get to 500 gold. We currently have 40 with a monthly balance of plus 0.17 gold. So as you can imagine, that'll take a long time with the current state of things. So I think it's obvious that we'll try to get married. Now, that has now become our ambition. That pop up here on this character screen. If you go to any other character, if they have an ambition, it will be there. And also, if you look at other characters, you'll see their ambitions, and you can try and fulfill them for them, and that will make them happy. For example, if you see a character wants to get married, you could then bring about that marriage, and of course you'll reap the benefits of their opinion of you. Now, we've chosen our ambition to get married. What we need to now do is fulfill that ambition. So the way you do that is on our character screen. The easiest way when you're first starting out is this is usually what happens with a lot of the characters. It's quite similar to the start to this, is to select arrange marriage. Now we can select a spouse from all those available. Now, when I was telling you earlier, the size of your domain there is related to your stewardship. Well, you can see there the stewardship bonus gives a benefit, so the larger that is, the higher your domain rating. Now, you can see from my stats there what they are. I'm very good with stewardship, not so good with diplomacy, and not so good with state learning. Now, let's have a look. These are all the potential available wives. Now, let's look by stewardship, filter it by stewardship. 10. Let's just have a look for each one. Now, just looking at those, Daphne, a Greek courtier, doesn't particularly like me. She's 21. These are the traits you can look at. We won't go into those yet, but they can have positive and minus effects on reasons to choose them. She's got quite good a martial skill. She's got a good intrigue skill as well, but she's got a few negative traits there I don't particularly like. Now, I think, how old am I? I am 42. Okay. Now, ideally, I want more children. potentially. We have got a son who's 18. Then again, we've got to take into account our Gavelkin succession, so let's look for a woman with nice stats. Claudia Sorrenti. She's Catholic, which is what that symbol there is. She quite likes me. We're both zealous. Oh, she's a good charismatic negotiator. She's just. She's a bit paranoid. She's zealous and deceitful. But you will get a cut of the stats applied to your stats when you marry a wife. So I think we'll go with her. We'll see if what can happen now. If we click her to choose her, basically opens up the diplomacy screen. Now, when you're asking her to be married to you, you have to go through her liege or her lord. Now, in this case, it's a patrician. That means he's a leader of a republic. I can't remember the name of it now. It'll come to me. He's basically a trading house. He's not a. They basically all about the merchants, basically. Now, in this current situation, if we propose that myself and her get married, I'd gain 0 prestige from marrying into their house and minus 100 from marrying a courtier. Right, well, we've currently got 20 prestige, so we'll possibly not do that. Now there's a back button up here. Easy way to go back on these screens. Let's try that again. Range marriage, we'll filter it by rank. There's various filters at the top. Now, we haven't got a lot of choice available to us at the moment, have we? All courtiers. Let's have a little look down here in the bottom right. There's a character finder. It's one of those buttons I told you about that you can use. Find character. Let's look for my realm. Women. Not in prison. Not married. We don't mind if they're rulers. My religious group. My culture group. We want an adult as we're in our 40s. Any grey house, yeah. Now these are, you can search by your court, your vassals, your entire realm, or anywhere you know about. Now let's have a look. We'll filter it by stewardship just for now. Now it's a 16-year-old with interesting stats attributes there. Oh, Midas touch, that's always good. A few negatives on piety, but she's likely to have children. Right, I don't think we're going to get anywhere with titles. Right, we'll try her. Now, it's slightly different than clicking the ring button. That will take you straight to the screen. By using the find character down there in the bottom right, it basically brings up all the characters, you filter them, then you click the one you want to look at, then you go to the picture and you right click, and that will bring up some options. Go to diplomacy or go to character. We'll go to diplomacy. She's a Pictish noble. We'll try to arrange a marriage. Her liege is offering her. Now I would like to offer myself. Now I'll lose 100 prestige from doing so, but we'll gain some benefits to our stats. Now, down here you can see what's likely to happen. Now, he quite likes me. He has a base reluctance of doing so, but that is overridden by his opinion of me. Now, it's likely to succeed if I say yes. Now, the other thing to bear in mind here is these are some of the details of the consequences. I'll lose 100 prestige, and there's also a matrilineal marriage option. Now, we won't go into that now, but basically it enables you to marry a man to a woman, but take on the woman's dynasty or bloodline instead of the children naturally taking on the fathers. So there's benefits to that, as you'll see later. Now let's just get married and get this ambition sorted. We'll send that off. Now we've sent that request to her lord. Now the other thing we've got going on, we're unmarried. That will be sorted out once that comes back to us. The other thing is we have an unmarried heir. So let's find him a wife, because we need him to have some children if we want to continue on with this game. Now how is his stats? Now he's a bit weak on stewardship there. He's reasonable and everything else, but he's weak on stewardship. So we'll look for someone with some stewardship. Best option we've got available to us. He's 18 years of age. Right. Now there's a courtier in Dax. She doesn't particularly like me. But, more importantly, she's got some stewardship. Well, the best of what's available to us currently. So let's see if we can marry them off now. Just I'm going to look where he comes from. You do that basically by arranging the marriage. You can basically click on him and see where he's from by clicking on him, and that is his coat of arms for the land that he's currently ruling. Now his liege is the king of West Francia, which I'm guessing is this area here. Now he has 3 titles there, so he's quite powerful. The County of Dax, the County of Bern, and the County of Mercenaries. I think it was somewhere here, wasn't it? Dax. There. And also that one. And also that one. So he basically has this area here. The Bay of Biscay. Now, suits our purposes. Let's go back. Arrange marriage. Buy stewardship. Courtier. Now, with this marriage taking place, it would result in no prestige loss for him. In fact, he would gain prestige from this marriage taking place. It's likely to happen. Now, fortunately, when she marries us, their children will take on our bloodline. He doesn't mind that. And also, a result of this will be, we'll get an alliance with him. Now, he's a bit too far away there, really, for it to be of great benefit, but I'd like the stewardship benefits of marrying them, so we'll suggest that. Now, he's considering an arranged marriage offer from us. That'll happen in a number of days. So we've settled all the outstanding events at the top. We'll start the timer. Basically, the game is played by a pause and start method. So you'll start the timer and it will slowly creep forward. You can choose how fast you want it to go, and events will happen. At any time you can pause it and reassess what's going on and start the timer, but you'll get the gist of it. Now space starts and stops it, so we'll press space, and time's now starting. 4 days have passed, nothing's happened so far. Right, it's paused. A major event, if you remember, has come up in the top right. Major and minor events. Now the major ones will automatically show, the minor ones won't, but you can always click that tab to get them to show, to assess what's going on. Now let's have a look. Madro and Chief Cernak have gotten married. We can collect a royal aid duty to pay for the ceremonies. Right. Yes, it's everyone's concern. Gain a gold. No. People respect wealth. Now, do you know, we lost 100 prestige from getting married to this low courtier. So we'll go with the prestige. Now we're still at -30, but it's better than -80. Now, what else has happened? To the glorious Chief Cernak, may you live in harmony and contentment. I accept your suggestion. The Chief Cernak and Madra get married. Excellent. So that's now happened. Time will now continue on, and it's auto-paused. Oh, our first achievement. We've got married. Now, Chief Cernak of Breffney fulfilled the ambition to get married. Excellent. Pause it by pressing space. We now get to pick a new ambition. Our son's still unmarried, but we'll be waiting on that offer to be accepted or rejected, but we're expecting them to say yes. So, let's pick a new ambition. There's the ambition button. Ambition to have a daughter, become exalted, paragon of virtue, amass wealth. I think we'll go with having a daughter. We'll try for that. Right, that's our ambitions fulfilled. We'll start the game again and see if we get the offer for our son to get married. Happens shortly. Now there's a major. One of the events there I was talking about, a major one, high priority one. Madru has entered our court. If we click on our character, we can now see she's there. That's our wife. But she doesn't particularly like me. Let's click on her and see why. Personal diplomacy, a short reign. Well, that will basically sort itself out the longer I'm the leader, and the fact that I've got prestige in the minus prestige, so that doesn't help. Now let's cancel that event. Start the timer and see if our son gets his request fulfilled. Right, it's paused again. To the magnificent Chief Cernak, your wisdom and mercy are legendary. I accept your suggestion that basically they get married. Okay, good. Now, she's arrived at our court. Now, basically what that means is if you go to your screen, the tabs down here show your family members, relations. Now we can see there that that's slightly changed now. We have new marriage ties. We've still got the same amount of vassals. Our court should have expanded, I think. I think that was her there, wasn't it? Adele, yeah, she's joined our court. We've now got an ally in the basically our ally there, who we just married his daughter, I think it is. And we haven't got anyone abroad. Now I think we'll save it there. That's our initial setup for the game, and we'll see where things take us in the next episode. Thanks for bearing with me.